Maddie Lansdowne, thank you for joining the Double Triple podcast.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I should be the one excited hosting a professional podcaster, but nonetheless, super excited to talk through your wonderful journey through the Double Triple program. So
Mhm.
maybe we kick off with what were you doing before coming into the orbit? What's your story? And what sort of inspired you to make a change and start working with Kayla and I?
Yeah, sure. Where was I before? So I guess I've got a very diverse background, which in the end worked in my favor. But basically, I started as a scientist, like a lab geek in laboratories, in hospitals, working on disease research. And from there, I sort of pivoted into creating a podcast and a business off the back of that podcast, and then eventually left the day job. So I spent most of the last 8 or 9 years as essentially a solo entrepreneur by myself, trying to figure it all out. Lots of ups and downs, lots of big risks financially, paying for a lot of coaching, just working through all sorts of different ideas and beliefs about money and business and all of that kind of stuff. And essentially going from being sort of an everyday employee to sort of running the business and having my own little team as well. Most recently, before I made this pivot into tech sales, it was podcasting and running an online coaching program, which went for about 6 years. And then I essentially got to a point where a number of factors that affected my business and my industry meant that business started to go backwards. And those three things for me were like ChatGPT has sort of really impacted the coaching industry just because everyone's got a coach in their pocket for free. Inflation was a major part of it because high ticket coaching is all of a sudden, a nice to have product that people can't afford. And also for my particular industry, Ozempic, the wave of that drug has sort of really wiped out my client base from doing the work in a more holistic, natural way. So because business was sort of going backwards and we had our first baby a little over a year ago and we've got another baby on the way, I got to a sort of a dad's sole provider point of like, oh, I can't keep white knuckling my little passion project. I've really got to think about feeding other people now. So I found Kayla online. I just began sort of opening myself up to what's next, because going back to a scientist's salary, what I'm qualified to do, in a hospital or something like that, really these days, a single scientist salary wouldn't cover it. So I thought I got to do something different. What are the parts of the work that I've done for a long time that like I could monetize in a different way? Maybe not as a business owner taking all the risk myself, but be able to, share with other people or businesses or collaborate with people. And then I saw Kayla, and Kayla was talking about sales and tech sales and these amazing numbers and her dream run of going from the start to, $500,000 packages and hearing about yourself. And then I thought, oh, I wonder, I wouldn't describe myself as a tech head or particularly techie, but I love a chat, and I've sold over $1 million of my own stuff in my own businesses, over 2,000 sales calls in that sort of 8-year period. So I thought, I wonder if those skills could be worth a bit of money to somebody in the tech industry.
I love it. And what a story, Maddie. And you're a great example of having all these amazing skills, this great professional experience that a lot of the time are actually directly translatable into tech sales careers. And that's a big aha moment we find for a lot of people. So I don't know if you had that similar experience, but I know when we started working together, it was like positioning and let's think about the strategy here. How do we want to actually make the move and the pivot into tech sales? So do you have any advice or any reflections maybe in terms of what that looked like for you as we started to work together?
Yeah, I think, I guess I was lucky in the sense that going on a business journey really cracks you wide open to your own limiting beliefs about what's possible, about what you deserve, and, not to get too psychological or woo-woo in the conversation, but, you start to learn a lot about yourself when you are responsible for everything. And so I think I'd already worked through a lot of my ideas about how to sell and how to package and how to market myself, if that
Mm.
makes sense. And so if I had have come across Kayla's posts on Instagram 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have thought I could do it, if that makes sense. I would have been like, nah, I'm educated in a different realm. This won't work. Whereas now it's like, oh, we can package up anything and sell it, right? So, and I actually think that's one of my strengths now. And the good thing is a lot of these job ads for people that are coming in at the AE level, they often have some kind of entrepreneurial mindset or go-to-market strategy packaged in there, which in my experience thus far, like people seem to really want. It's like they want that entrepreneurial spirit or energy. And that's not just the hustle, but it's more the creative thinking and the problem solving and because you've got so many people you got to sell to. It's like everyone's a little bit different. You've got to be a bit of a chameleon and adapt to the situation. So I started to discover that it's like, oh, some of these strengths, which in in a regular day job, as in my industry, I would have to pretend aren't there, or just just sort of fake it that I'm not that person to fit the job mold. I actually found, oh, I could just totally rock up to the interview and be myself and talk about all the stuff I've done. And it turns out that that's what people want, in the sense that I know how to package stuff, I know how to sell it, and it doesn't matter what it is. And that's the important part, because I got no tech background.
That's the key for tech sales. We focus on the sales part of that, of those words. So you mentioned, Maddie, the AE, so account executive. This is certainly the path that we targeted for you, and you've been successful in getting an outcome. So shall we start with the bottom line up front? Like where are you at now? What's the outcome we've been able to get together, and what does that look like for you in terms of, we've now got this AE role. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So got the AA role, went through a 3-stage interview process, of which like Gabe, you were instrumental in preparing me for that and getting me up to speed. I went from like knowing nothing about cybersecurity to basically trying to pretend to be an expert in about a week, because the interviews, it all went really fast, and the interviews were sometimes what I prepared for and sometimes not. And then got through, and I'd finished interview number 3, and I was on the tram on the way home. It had been about 20 minutes since I'd left the office, and the CEO called me and said, we want to offer you the job. And it was a $200,000 OTE package. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like I'm stepping into an entirely new industry, and I've had the interview with the sales manager and then the CEO and then the entire C-suite, all of which were like nerve-wracking and intense, and me going in thinking a little bit of imposter syndrome, being like, I don't even know what's going on here, but I'm just going to show up with good energy and tell them what I do know, own what I don't know, and let's hope they like me. It seems to have worked. Landed a package which is easily going to be able to feed the family, and the good thing is it's also uncapped commissions. And every time I asked a question in the interview process about, the direction of the company or the future, I was just reminded, hey, Maddie, it's the scoreboard, uncapped commissions. Go as hard as you like.
No answers, but at least there's uncapped comms. Figure out how to get there.
Totally. It's like, all right, I can climb that ladder for now.
Yeah. We'll work that one out next together, Maddie. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think the AE track too, just coming back to your professional experience, your skills, like we, at Double Triple, we're very much working with people that are either targeting a pivot or like an entry into tech sales. And what most people don't realize is like the SDR role, the BDM roles, the AE roles, they sit along a spectrum of sales titles. And there's even like subcategories to those roles themselves, let alone the vendors versus the channel partner and different archetypes of employer for those specific roles, but more so the pathway that we look at. I think I was sharing like my experience. Kayla's journey is really well known, posting about it online. A lot of people discover us that way. But I think when you and I first sat down and it was like, hey, let's take a look at the pathways into the industry and what the considerations could look like. And thankfully, we've got access to roles and opportunities too that aren't publicly advertised or known in the market. And I think I came to you, Maddie, and I was like, I'm just really bullish on this one role for these reasons. And it sort of mirrors my personal journey in my career. And I think you can really replicate it. And here's why it would be beneficial for you coming into the industry. Maybe a little biased because it is cyber as a domain too. We sort of banter with Kayla, cyber versus AI, but it's a little more immaterial. But I think that longer term horizon too, like I love to just think about the big picture and the strategic outcome you can get in your career, because this first year now is really the start of the rest of your career and something that can be really
Mm.
lucrative and rewarding and has a lot of professional development and growth for yourself throughout your career. So yeah, I feel like getting that right together with your input too and your buy-in obviously set everything up for success, as well as, what you put in is what you get out in that regard as well.
Yeah, I think too, one thing that's going on my business journey, you have all of these creative ideas as a business owner and an entrepreneur. And one thing you learn when you get into business is often your creative, amazing first time ever ideas are probably going to fail. You should just find a problem to solve in the marketplace that already exists, that people are ready to pay for. And so it's good in the sense that by the time I found you and Kayla, and we got on a call and I started to get to know you, and you and I really connected and vibed, and we could probably talk on this podcast for hours. Is that I was just like, the plan is Gabe. Like, be like Gabe, right? It's like the model has already been executed, delivered, and is very successful. So I was just like, how can I be like Gabe, essentially?
We just get you on stages,
um,
Maddie, talking to thousands of people and evangelizing cybersecurity now. It's the next frontier.
well, I can be the double, triple spokesperson.
There we go. Quarterly events.
Yeah. So, but it's just this idea that there's a template that already works. It's already been proven. So, at the very least, start in the same spot or as a launching pad, and with your guidance and with whatever happens in the career, obviously, hopefully, there's some guardrails we can kind of bump off of over the coming months and years, so that we sort of produce a similar outcome. That's kind of the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just getting started now, so more to come.
Exactly.
I've got to ask, Maddie, what was the big decision point for you in terms of, investing yourself in coaching in a program like this versus just figuring it
Mhm.
out yourself?
I've tried to figure it out myself before many times, and that's a lot slower. And I'm definitely a personality that overthinks and suffers from analysis paralysis. And I've spent over 150,000 US on coaching over the course of my business years. And yeah, I guess in the beginning, like similar to what I said before, I thought I knew better in the sense that I was like, I can figure it out, I can do it. And it's almost like this mentality of, it's a very ego driven mentality of like, I need to be the one with the answers and the solutions. And I guess, I don't know, with a bit of maturity and life experience, I learned it doesn't matter if I don't have the answer, someone's got it. Like, and Kayla and Gabe clearly have it, so let's go.
Nice.
It's like, here's someone who knows what they're doing. They're a few steps ahead of me. I think I've got a couple of the variables which would be instrumental in making this work out. So I've been told my whole life I would be good at sales, and that's the part of the sort of my business that I really enjoy, connecting with people, chatting, solving problems, all that kind of stuff. So I thought, well, I've got A, B, and C. Maybe Gabe and Kayla have got a few of the other pieces, and together, let's go.
Dream team. And it's worked out.
Yeah.
And what's the timeline like end to end when we like hit the go button and decided to work together to you getting the job offer? Was it like a
Mhm.
5-week end to end
Yeah.
process?
Yeah, pretty much 5 weeks. And I think, yeah, the only thing that slowed that down was that we were just going for this one target that we were, like you said, you literally said, I'm bullish on this for you, let's go after it. And so, unlike probably everybody else, and what you should do is spend time applying for a whole host of jobs, I spent only time on this, because I was following your lead, which obviously was the correct thing to do. And in all of my spare time, instead of looking at other opportunities and jobs, I was just researching cybersecurity. I was just trying to level up my knowledge so that in these conversations, I could at least fake it till I made it, if you know what I mean.
Nice.
So I sort of just disproportionately was very heavy on this one job.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I do remember we went through the normal pattern of shortlisting opportunities in the job tracker
Hmm.
and using the hubs and Notion and all the fancy intelligence that's under the hood and riff-raffing together on strategy at the start. But I do remember a distinct point. There was probably 6 or 8 opportunities, right, that we had
Yeah.
shortlisted. Because I remember going through like the positioning and looking at the job descriptions and the resume artifacts and how we do the multi-threading on LinkedIn and all that sort of thing. But I do remember very quickly it was like, no, let's just go all in on this opportunity as an AE in the
Yeah.
VAR. So, and then it was all guns blazing, and you spent that time really just uplifting high level awareness and knowledge around the domain. And we very much knew the profiling of the stakeholders through the interview process, by which we also is a sales skill in itself, right? Like, who's the stakeholder you're talking to? What are they looking to get out of it? How do you position yourself? How do we prep for that? But we knew that there was a big opportunity for you to really bring and come from a point of strength in terms of your soft skills and attributes, and the fact that you are a people person and they need a business guy, a sales guy.
Mm.
And even similar to, Lee's example in our community too, we very much saw, I think similar for you, both of you, we saw in the job description they were looking for someone that could also contribute to the sales function and the go-to-market strategy. It's a growing business and they want to grow bigger and better. And so I feel like it was just both a good fit in that sense, in terms of you as a candidate and as talent, and then into the opportunity that we're able to find and source to be like, this could actually be a great match. And there we go,
Yeah, I think as well, it was good fortune in the sense that they also had the attitude of, we can teach you the knowledge of the product. That's fine. That's just rote learning, but we need someone with the right energy, the right vibe. That was the more important to them. So it was kind of nice in a way to be like, all right, they looked at my resume. I've done enough things educationally that they're like, oh, this guy can obviously learn something. That's a skill set he's got. So beyond that, it's just, is he the right fit, sort of, yeah, personality, energetic. So given that everybody was like, oh, you seem like a nice guy to hang out with, I was like, great, qualified.
Yeah, done. I'm your guy.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And then what about back to the program itself, Maddie, in the double triple
Mm-hmm.
program, community, everything we have? Is there anything specifically that just really moved the dial for you, whether it was a specific stage of the process or a specific thing we collaborated on that was just like, this really helped me to get the outcome, or it was like just the most valuable thing for me?
I mean, like the online learning stuff that you guys have got, the biggest thing there for me, having sold B2C, so to, business to customer, for so many years, or for the entire time basically that I've been in business, where it's a kind of a process of, you're always selling. So the new learning for me was that doing these bigger deals that are worth a lot more money, and there's a lot more stakeholders within a company that are involved, was just learning how to figure out who's important in the conversation, how many voices do we need in the conversation. You don't sell on the first call or the second call. It's like a couple of calls in, once you've figured out who the right people are to do the pitching to. So that was, from an education standpoint, that was the biggest step for me. And to be fair as well, in the interview process, that was their only hesitation with me, that I hadn't sold in that capacity before, of it being, maybe a multiple month cycle of communication before we actually get to signing and paying, for the product. Whereas in B2C land, you're sort of, you're on to the next 125 people, the next week, virtually. So that was what I learned the most. But by far the most valuable thing for me in a world of AI and Zoom calls and all this kind of stuff is the attention that yourself and Kayla give to every one of us. Like, we all feel like the chosen one. Like, we all feel like your favorite student, and it's so nice for the process to not just be, here's some modules, you're a number in a system, hopefully you figure it out. If you don't, send an email to this address, support at double triple, so it's so nice that you guys are in the DMs every day. It feels like you're talking to a combination of an authority and a friend at the same time. And that just makes the process, like, it just makes it all worth it, because you don't feel alone. You don't feel like a number. And you feel like, you guys really care about the outcomes, which, when we found out I got a job, it became very apparent, Gabe, that you had some emotions about the scenario.
Don't bring it up, Maddie.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Yeah, wow, we care about you, right? And the story goes that
Yeah.
Taylor and I were on a team meeting at the time when you dropped in a message in our chat to say that you got the offer. And so there's literally a live recording that's been widely circulated in the double triple community, of me literally crying about the news. Supplementary asset to this podcast.
Yeah. No, it was so beautiful. Like, not that I expected that at all, but it's just like, wow, that's like, just indicative of the connection that, we've been able to develop over such a short period of time. And I think it's a testament to just who you are as a person. So I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. It's very nice. We do deeply care about your experience, and at the heart of it for us is the community we're building and the people and the relationships. And it must be quite apparent, when the connections and the emotions come out, which is really good. But at the end of the day, we're like really here to be a partner for you and for people coming into our program. And we appreciate there's a lot of unknowns coming into a new
Mm.
industry too. And we have experience to share. And at the end of the day, we do really care deeply about people's experiences, because we've also had a similar life transformation, so to speak, with an industry that's also given us so much. And we know how impactful it can be to people. And it's just amazing. Like, we're in the trenches with you, or as Kayla would say, we're in the arena, and we feel like we're part of the journey. So it's like we care about the outcome just as much. And perhaps that's why it's a program and a coaching service too that is, like you say, it's the human element and the touch outside of the course and the community, the community digital elements. It's bringing people together and having that community first mentality is what's really important to us. So we're glad you feel that way.
Yeah, well, I think as you were talking there, what came up for me was, and one of the things that helped, I guess, convert me into one of your clients is knowing that either just recently or still, you were both still in the industry. Because I think, especially if you've ever been in the small business world, or you're starting to look into opportunities to make money in different ways, you start to get all of these ads for coaching. And like, in the years ago, it was like how to do an Amazon business, and over time, you get a little bit cynical and you think, if people are selling coaching for this, does that mean it's no longer lucrative? And I think I asked you that question on one of our sales calls,
You did. Yeah.
because
The
because
first
I'm
call
so
together.
aware, because I'm so aware of that, and so the fact that it's like, the two of you were both still in the trenches, that gave me some kind of confidence or hope that it's like, oh, you're still both on $500,000 packages in the trenches. So obviously it still works. It's not a thing that, oh, I had my heyday 10 years ago and now I'm going to try and sell you on it, but the industry's actually closing down,
With all the
So that
disruption
was,
as well happening.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like other people have that hesitation of being like, why are you selling how-to products? Does that mean it doesn't work anymore?
Yeah.
So for me, that was a part of like me feeling confident that, oh, if you guys are still in jobs that are very well paying, then I feel confident that I'm not being taught by someone who's retired and just trying to grab at a few bucks.
Totally. Yeah. It's the credibility, right? And that point of authority of
Yeah.
like we've done the thing before that we're teaching and supporting people on. So I remember the
Yeah.
conversation too when we first caught up in fundamentally what was the sales call. I think as you described it, and you were just like, "Can I ask a question? If it's so good, why are you selling this stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, good question." What was my answer like at the time? I can't even remember. Something about changing people's lives probably, and just hanging out with besties in the program.
I think also you talked to a really relevant point, which is it's an industry that's exploding. Like, the opportunity is right now, and the way that I think about it is kind of like, something like Bitcoin. It's like, if you got in 2012 and you still have Bitcoin, you're probably doing extremely well. But even if you got in 2020, you're still doing super well, right? So that's kind of how I think about it. You guys got in Bitcoin when it started. The rest of us are just a few years down the track, but it's still blowing up. And if we're talking about, many of us have interest in earning lots of money because we've got kids to feed, or families, or lives to create, or dreams to achieve. And the reality is freedom and choice comes on the other side of having the cash to make those choices. And so right now, as a new dad, it's my vision to be able to afford a life in this current economic world scenario that means we're not scraping the barrel at the end of every day and every week, and we can actually have a life that, everybody grows up and doesn't look back and think that was tough. At the very least, they'll look back and think, at least we had a bunch of fun because we had some cash to do some stuff. So this feels like also like a really smart economic decision, given my own personal options right now, that this is the best possible move I could make to have a career which in the next few years or next 5 or 10 years makes some serious cash that would dwarf anything that I could have ever achieved as a scientist.
Yeah, totally. And also, the motivation is a big part in sort of meeting you where you are, and everyone's circumstance is really different. I feel like,
Hmm.
was it a big consideration for you, Maddie, when you were looking at tech as an industry, as you describe it then, and it being quite future proof? Was that a big part of your decision making process to actually come into this program and move into the tech industry?
Well, after being running a very much a need to have a nice to have product business in like health and wellness coaching and that kind of thing, what I've decided is like nice to have products are really great when times are abundant because people have lots of excess cash and they've got excess headspace to look at other things. And so after my own business kind of going down, 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 I made a decision to myself, especially whilst I've got a family to provide for, that I would never have a job or run a business that wasn't a need to have service. And something like that might be plumbing or an electrician company or a funeral home or all of this stuff that is like absolutely essential. In recessions, you still need it. And so what I thought about is in regards to my move into tech was, and the reason I really resonate with this idea of cybersecurity is that it's a need to have industry. Governments have regulations around what companies have to do with cybersecurity. They're constantly tightening the risk for companies paying massive, massive multi-million dollar fines as a consequence. It sits there. So I really liked that we took that path because it really fits in this idea of it's a need to have tech service. And whilst all these companies are blowing up and going wild right now, I'm thinking like, where am I going to be at in 10 years? Like imagine the recession happens and World War III happens, and it's highly likely that cybersecurity will still be an absolute need to have service. So that's part of my own strategic thinking about how to move forward into this space.
Best decision ever, Maddie. The best thing in the world. Cybersecurity is so interesting. Tech, just you can't go wrong, really.
Oh, obviously. No bias, obviously.
No, no bias at all. What about if someone's listening to this today, Maddie, and they think, I don't know if I can make the move. Cybersecurity sounds very technical for me. Maddie looks like a legend. He's very likable. Not sure, there might be limiting beliefs, right, for other people.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's appreciated in a sense, right? We're all different. So if someone is in that position of having like a limiting belief that they can't do this, what would you say to them?
It's a good question. I would say if you have the ability to communicate with people, if you are comfortable having, conversations with strangers, they're both great prerequisites for getting into sales. I would also say that just my journey has been like we doubled and tripled down on this one thing. And so we went super hard and super deep into, you know, cybersecurity and this opportunity. But everyone in the community that's doing well and having massive wins of signing contracts above 300,000 and 200,000, everyone has applied for tons of jobs, sent heaps of Loom videos, and been super proactive. So I think as long as you've got the skills of being able to have human relationships, beyond that you can package it and sell it. But you also need to be willing to work. Like all of the testimonials that are landed a job in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, are people that just went super hard. And the reality is, these companies are hiring people to do exactly that, go super hard, because your pay is often determined by how hard you work and how much you work, because there's a commission wrapped around it, and if you don't hit some of those targets, you're at risk of losing your job. So I guess the way that you show up to double triple should be a reflection as to the way that you show up in the workplace. So yeah, first prerequisite is just being comfortable having human conversations, and beyond that you can package it and sell it.
Absolutely. Nothing you can't learn either, right? But I think the big thing that
Yeah.
sets people apart, that anyone that's successful, it's again back to that thing we mentioned before. What you put in is what you get out. And the most successful
Mm.
people in life, of course, when they double triple down, is the fact that they kind of go hard and, follow sort of the best practice that does work. And we can see it in the people in
Mm.
the program. People are really rolling their sleeves up. We're in the trenches with them. They're really studying. They're really like outreaching in an effective way, learning from the community as well. A lot of people are starting to really connect. And the best thing we're seeing unfold is that Double Triple is serving as the start of a professional network too in the tech space,
Mm.
which is really exciting for us. So it's very cool to see it to see that play out.
Yeah, I love the and probably one of the main contributors to all of the banter that goes on in our community WhatsApp group. But it's so nice because like winners want to be around other winners, and so being a part of that community and seeing, people start on their first day or that they've got 3 job offers that just came in, like it's so nice to be around that energy. And 9 times out of 10, because you've been sort of along the journey in some kind of way as part of the community, how much they've hustled, how many videos they've sent, and we're sharing experiences, and this didn't work, but let's have a crack at the next one, and just stirring each other up from time to time. I'm pretty guilty of that. So it's just a good energy to be around, and like you said, a professional network, because all of us are now going to be active salespeople in the world of tech, and so it's nice that we've got this kind of foundation story that connects us all, so that we can touch base with one another and sort of know where we came from and how you might operate, and it possibly will open doors for deals later on.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the main feature of the community is the banter, for sure, Maddie. And I would just like to say, for anyone watching this podcast that's about to enter the Double Triple community and program, in the first phase of the program, when we get people to submit their Loom pitches as a foundational asset to get started, and then everybody watches yours, Maddie, and they're just like,
Oh, do they really?
yeah, they're like, that was just so good. Like, you've got a professional setup, you're well spoken, you're literally a pro podcaster. They're like, Maddie, what tech setup do you have? People are asking like your camera and microphone setup. And they ask me, they're like, does my first Loom video need to be as good as Maddie's? And I'm like, I don't know where that is. The bench is really, the benchmark has been set very, very high.
Sorry, guys. And ironically, I never had to send one Loom video in the end.
Yeah. But standing on the shoulders of giants, right? We saw some best practice, and the looms are very cool for a lot of people to see. So cool
Oh,
assets.
totally. And I'll be doing heaps of them once I start working. And again, it's another example of the stuff we do here is exactly what we're going to be doing in our day jobs. So, I'll be smashing the Loom button once I start on day one.
A little bit of inception there too, which is really cool. Cool feature of the program
Yeah.
is like the stuff we teach and the things we do together is actually a really core fundamental element of sales as well. And using some of these tactics, and whether it's Loom as an asset or even what we're about to dive into, Maddie, I know in a future session together, is around using the tools and becoming what's now being described as an AI native, well, super rep, as we're sort of calling it, high gloss marketing there, but certainly using the tools and the tech and the assets you have available to really stand out from the crowd, pattern interrupt, use it as a sales asset. And it's just a really cool flywheel that's happening across the community at the moment, which is a lot of fun.
Great fun.
Last question I have for you, Maddie, is a little bit future looking. What's next? You're sort of gearing up to actually start in the role in about 2 weeks' time. So how are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling excited, to be honest. For multiple reasons. I've spent almost a decade not with a regular paycheck, and as much as it's easy to romanticize being your own boss, I'm actually looking forward to a bit of structure and being a part of a team. That's one thing. A lot of salespeople, we're extroverts, we're social people, and I've spent a long time locked in my office here by myself. And another important detail was that I didn't want remote options. I only wanted a hybrid, because it's really important for me as a person. I get my energy from being around people, feeling like I'm in the trenches with the guys I'm working with. So I'm actually looking forward to going to the office and just having a bit of separation, because here at home it's like baby life and relationship and everything exists in business and money, and it's all in the same 4 walls. So I'm actually looking forward to like work being over there and home being over here. So I'm looking forward to it. And I know as well with this particular business that I'm stepping into, there's a lot that I can be involved in to get this business successful, because it's very much in startup mode. So I'm excited about just the uncertainty of like, oh, we're going to throw all of these ideas at the wall. We don't know what's going to stick. So there's that entrepreneurial part of me that's like, also excited about the unknown, which might not appeal to some people, and that's all right because there's plenty of much more established companies out there. But as you know, one of the first two salespeople in this company, I'm like, oh, we could be responsible for a lot.
The future growth trajectory is certainly there, but it serves
Yeah,
your
totally.
entrepreneurial flair very well, Maddie, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So, yeah, I'm excited to start. I'm excited to learn, and there's so much to learn for me stepping into an industry that's new to me. Which I'm going to have your amazing brain to help me with that before we hit go. And yeah, then beyond that, let's just climb the ladder. Let's go to the top.
Let's do it. Well, we very much look forward to supporting you on all of this next phase of the journey, Maddie. So big thanks for entrusting us, trusting us and being a partner for us as well when we look forward to seeing what's next.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much to you and Kayla. And yeah, anybody that's unsure, highly recommend getting involved in Double Triple. Yeah, it'll take you where you want to go.
Double, triple down. Thanks, Maddie.